Alright, welcome back. This is M-Dog. We're going to try to do a 4-spot check here at Yama. It may take a little bit of time. I don't know that we can hit them all in one day. We'll try to, though. There was an excellent post on the VK site. Kostya Lipovenko. It's one of the best posts I've ever seen, honestly. I mean, there's some good ones from time to time. This ranks up there. And he's basically showing his route of fishing 4 different spots at Yama. And the first one we're going to start off is 137, 196. So let's head there. We'll end at the one that's here, which is the spot that I've really used the most. But 137, 196. And it looks like he's doing a 35 retrieval speed. So we'll try these. He's got several lures listed that we'll rotate through. And since it's still a little early, I'll show you the lures he's using just so you kind of know. I'm starting with the Hypnotic, the black one, because I figure it kind of works well with it still being a little dark. So 137, 196, is that actually up here? Yep. And it doesn't really show like what direction he's casting or whatever, so we're just going to have to sort of try out different things. But real quick, so the Hypnotic 20004, he also recommends the Hypnotic 08, which is this one, the red and black. I've also liked the orange and black, but he particularly mentions those two Hypnotics, the 04 and the 08. Of course, he mentions the Satori 003, which we've all seen a lot. He also recommends the West Siberian K006. And a lure that I haven't used here yet that I'm excited to try, the Slim Shot, the 002 and the 006. So those are the lures he mentions. And let's get fishing and let's see what we can do here. So he's basically doing, it looks like 35 speed, retrieval speed. Says uniform. I will do some pausing most likely, but as I've said before in streams and videos, I just feel like so often the bites here are coming in on the drop of the lure. But this is a cool idea. I like this idea of like, hey, let's pick out 3 or 4 spots and let's just kind of rotate between them. The downside of it, of course, is the travel time. It's a lot of walking. But the upside is if spots do slow down a little bit after you hit them for a little while, then this kind of dodges that a bit. All right, looks like we are getting a fish pretty quick. By the way, he was using a little bit larger, nice coho, way to start it out. He's using a larger leader, but he's also using a rocket jet. So, I mean, this is kind of what I'm comfortable with here. So that did seem to work. It's still early, so let's throw the slingshot out. I just want to try this lure. I haven't tried the slingshots at Yama at all here yet. So let's see if we do catch a fish on this one. And I'll try to I'll do a little bit more constant retrieval than I've been doing. So especially since we're just using one rig here. I've been enjoying the double rig setup quite a bit, but we'll get a few casts in at each spot. Try to throw the Satori at least once. And there we go, another fish. So he may be onto something. Just that constant retrieval might be doing pretty well. Another coho. Wow. Okay. Now I've got 2 Satoris here. I think we want to use the one with the regular hook size. Everything's going to have default hook sizes that we're using. That was a quick bite, which often is the case on the Satori. Unfortunately, the Satori catches so many chums, but you'll get other stuff on it as well. It's a long way to reel in for a small fish, though. Hopefully this is not a chum. When it's this small, you need it to be something like a char to be worth anything. Coho's okay, I guess. All right, let's just go not quite as far a cast. With this Evora having the casting bonus and the fact that it's a bait casting setup in the first place, we're just getting such a long cast. Yeah, there we go. So uniform retrieval is really working quite well. I think uniform retrieval is preferable to me when I'm casting like we are right now. We're basically casting upstream so that the current is bringing it back towards us. Does that make sense? I think uniform retrieval makes a lot of sense. I think if you're casting like outside to the side or certainly downstream, it makes more sense to me to do some pauses. I feel like the fish are very often hitting the lure in the natural activity of just dropping into the current. But doing it this way, I think constant retrieval does make some sense. All right, it's 6 a.m. and I don't know how long it's going to take to get to these spots. The next spot we're going to is actually 94-158, which is kind of like all the way down here somewhere, right around that 2.5. He does kind of have arrows on this post, so I can show you. At this spot, it looks like he was casting down into the 2-meter area, by the way. So kind of like this, just for information's sake. And then on the next spot, I'll try to show you exactly where he's showing he's casting. Let's see if we can get another fish here real quick. But these first two spots, the one we have been fishing at and this next spot, are actually two spots that I have fished them before, but not near as much as the last two spots. The last two spots we're fishing at I'm quite familiar with, or a lot more familiar with. All right, let's start off with the, where are the hypnotics? Yeah, the 8, hypnotic 8. Again, continue to use a variety of these lures that he's recommending. So we're going down to 94-158, which is going to be casting right into that 2.5 meter hole. Just down here a little bit, and you know, he's got the description of this post. He's sort of making it sound like he hits these 4 spots in one day. Now, that may end up being worthwhile. I think at least based on my experience here, I might adjust that to being a like 2-day journey. If you've got 2 hours to fish, oh, we're almost there, aren't we? All right, we want to be right here, it looks like. And at this point, he's casting right about there. Right about there. And the reason why I say 2 days is because it is a good bit of traveling. So in my mind, at least, spending a little longer time at each spot. So kind of half a day, and then work it out where you're walking maybe one of the longer routes overnight. Probably would be even more efficient. And it's not like these spots, at least in my experience, it's not like they dry up real quick. They seem to be pretty nice. So once again, a nice coho. We're hitting the cohos today. What was the other slim shot? So the 006. Let's try that one as well. Then we need to get that West Siberian in the water. A lot of folks loving the West Siberian lure. I haven't I've used it some. I've not been quite as impressed with it, but I haven't tried it at some of these other spots. So I think the nice thing about the West Siberian is some folks are getting a higher percentage of char maybe on it. Hey, it's a perch. It's the rare perch. You hardly ever see these here. Yeah, so it's the 06. See if we catch something on this. Then we'll throw the Satori a couple times, and we'll head to the next spot. We're moving obviously a little more quickly than you normally would, but I'm trying to get through all 4 spots in a reasonable amount of time. But theoretically, you could just stand here and fish all of these 4 spots at least for a quarter of a day, and I think maybe for a half a day might be the way to go. It's another coho. Shocking how many cohos we're hitting. There we go. Let the Satori do its work. Is this going to be our first chum? The chums have been strikingly absent so far. Yeah, there's our first chum. And then we'll head to the next spot. So far, all of these have been casting a little more upstream than I'm used to. But, yeah, when I first started, we did do more of this casting upstream. And then in sort of my favorite spot, which is the last spot that we'll fish at, it's more of a side to downstream cast. And so I've kind of gotten in the habit of doing that. But there may be some benefit in doing the upstream casts as well, and then more of a constant retrieval. And I wonder how many people are doing this, not even attempting to get jig step. Let's try one more cast here in this position. I think to get jig step when you're casting, you know, down like this, I think you're going to have to do like a really fast retrieval. And then I don't know that it'll even always work, but it might. Well, we hit a fish there. I think that's going to be about the only way to try to occasionally hit jig step when the current's coming back towards you like this. A much quicker sort of shift reel like that. All right, let's head to the next spot, which is, I think, 135, 134, which should be pretty familiar if you've done much fishing here at Yama. And we'll start off this time with the 4 again, see if this one works in the middle of the day. All right, so we're headed down to this 3.5, so we kind of want to go at an angle here to cut down on travel time and try not to run into any bears, I suppose. So this is going to be an abbreviated day, I guess. But so far, we're doing quite well. It's crazy. We've gotten 4 cohos and a chum. We'll see if we're still... Yeah. So really, the amount of time traveling hasn't been too bad from spot to spot. This last transition will be the worst. And I think, and we'll run it, but I will tell you that with how fast the loading times are, you may be better off relogging to get to this last point. All right, so 135, 134 should be like right here. It's a weird place to fish from, but okay. And again, we're sort of casting more like this, I'd guess. Okay. Wrong one. So let's see. We'll go back down to his technique. We'll try the 35 and constant retrieval. Now the current is moving away from us now, so I think getting a jig step here is at least feasible if you want to do jig step versus constant retrieval. But it looks like constant retrieval is still working quite well. We'll rotate through a couple of lures here. Where's the other hypnotic? Is the other one he uses is the 8. But this is a pretty well-known fishing spot as well, down around this 3.5 meter. It's getting carried out towards the shore here. If we don't get a fish soon, we won't get one on this cast. Yeah, it's not looking like we will. So we're really fishing with spoons, but treating them more like spinner baits. Is kind of what's happening here. I think I want to cast at a little bit more of that kind of angle with these, so that it doesn't come back to this side of the shore so quickly. These slim shots are a little lighter, so they don't travel quite as far. There we go. And really there's a char. The only reason why you would need a larger leader is for that occasional time that you do hit a king salmon. It's going to be a long fight based on your leader size. Those are such fun fights, though. Really enjoy the king salmon here. All right, this is the other slim shot we're trying. And then we'll try the West Siberian again, and we'll finish up this spot with the Satori a couple times. Pretty nice action out there on the Siberian. Let's try that again. To me, always worth closing the bail and then just letting that lure drift at least for a couple of seconds before you start to retrieve. I need to be doing that more. I'm trying to follow the constant retrieval that he's doing, but so many fish I've caught just as it just naturally drifts with the current. So this West Siberian is doing pretty good at the moment. I think we did try the... I can't remember if we tried the Hypnotic 8. We might not have. Yeah, maybe we did. We'll do it one time here, though. But like I said, close the bail and just let it drift for a second. And then start your retrieval. see if this is another chum. Some of that is going to be the time of day. You know, you saw we're catching some non-chum species early in the morning at all the spots we've been at. And then as it gets to be middle of the day, to me it seems like mostly what you see are chum, with some like rare exceptions. And then in the evening, when you just about can't handle any more chum, other stuff will start coming out again a little more often. Okay, very nice. So again, I really like this post because it gives you a variety of lures. It gives you 4 different spots. And if you haven't tried a lot of different spots yet, it is worth doing. And there's way more than just these 4 spots that are worth spending time at, but these seem to be 4 good ones though. There's another chum. Okay, so let's head to the last spot, and we'll start off with the slim shots again. All right, so now we're headed all the way back to basically where we started. Basically this route here. So this is where I would argue maybe it's worth just relogging on this final leg, but if you don't like relogging, then you just have to hoof it. It is a good bit of a travel here. How are we doing? Pretty good. And like I said, I could see spending closer to maybe 8 hours at each spot. Basically hitting 2 spots during the day during the fishable time, and then walking overnight at any chance you get to cut down on the inefficiency of moving this often, or of moving spots. But either way, I kind of like the idea of rotating, not getting stuck at one spot, keeping it a little bit more interesting, changing lures. Seems like a good plan. Fun plan, if nothing else. So we're going to 169 to 11. Let's see if that's the spot that I normally fish from. People, I think, have slightly different approaches to this area over here. So 169 to 11 is here. And he's got it doing basically like this route here. I'll show you. My favorite in this spot is to come down to here and fish from here, which you're fishing the same spot, very similar angle, but we'll stick to the post here. 169 to 11, so right here, casting at this angle. And let's go through the lures here. There we go. And to me, of all the places that I fished, this has been, in terms of volume fishing, this has been the best spot. The one spot that I really like that this doesn't include, and trying to work this additional spot into this rotation would require even longer haul. By the way, this is the chummiest of all spots, but you also can catch some decent kings here. The one spot that I like is down here, or here, but down here especially has been quite interesting. Char and other stuff. So it might be worth kind of going down there some as well, but so let's see what else we can catch in this spot. And again, this is a spot where you're, instead of casting upstream, you're casting downstream, bringing the lure back to you. And so normally I would definitely work some pauses in. Again, I'm trying to stick to his recommendation on uniform retrieving and such, but I would build a couple pauses into my retrieval in a spot like this. Get a little speed up, just mix it up a little bit. All right, so that was those two. Let's check out the hypnotics here as well. I'm gonna cast a little further left so it doesn't get to the shore quite as quickly. This is what happens all the time, especially in this spot, but all over the place. Just close your bail, and a lot of times the fish will hook in before you're even retrieving, which is why that two spinning method that I showed yesterday did seem to work really well. That's a dolly, isn't it? Undersized dolly. Oh wait, let's switch again. So the other hypnotic is the 8. Yep, there you go. This will probably be a really nice sized chum here. Maybe a 3.5, 4 kilo chum, I hope. Maybe not quite that. It looked heavier at first. Just pulled a little bit. What are we at? Oh my goodness, we're locking it up on accident. Is it a chum? Yep. 3 kilo chum, very nice. All right, so slim, hypnotic, West Siberian. I haven't used the West Siberian here much. When I tested the West Siberians, I primarily did it at that spot that I just showed you on the map that's not included in these 4 spots, because some folks were catching a little bit higher percentage of char down there, so I tested it down there. It didn't really work out for me as well, but a lot of folks are liking it, so I'll probably continue to at least test this lure out some here and there. And then finally, the Satori. By the way, all the Satoris are worth trying. I really like the 1, the 6, 9, and 10. Yes, the 3 has been doing a lot of good work, but it's not the only one. Don't forget about the Hunters as well. Hunters catching some nice fish here at Yama. So we went really quick through these 4 spots, right? And if you spend 1 full day rotating through the spots, then you probably end up with maybe twice as many fish as we got, because you're spending a lot more time fishing versus just walking. And if you do what I'm suggesting, which is spend 2 days making this route, then that is even more time fishing, because you're walking at night some and all that. So I think this is cool though. You know, the more at Yama I've gotten into the idea of just trying to enjoy the experience and not worry about, okay, how much silver am I making and that kind of stuff, the more I've enjoyed it. And this seems like a pretty cool way to keep the variety up, and starting to see trends at different spots. It's pretty neat. Next time I stream, we may just do this, kind of rotate 4 or 5 spots the whole time. not get stuck at one place. There's a pink salmon. You start to see a little bit of everything, don't you? And we didn't have any like particularly big fish. So in some ways I'd say like we had sort of an unlucky day at those 4 spots. It was also a quick day. We're also not fishing in the evening, which is where you're sometimes going to see your biggest species. So let's see what we did here. 111 silver, you could double that, 222 if you got some decent fish. I mean, I think the idea is, can you get to a place, if you're really concerned about the silver here, can you get to a place where you're hitting 300 silver an hour fairly consistently? I think that's realistic. And, you know, is that Tunguska numbers? No. But it's still respectable silver. I mean, you know, as you all know, if you've been around for a long time, back in the day, we were just dying to make 200 silver an hour. And if this place does end up getting fly fishing, I think that's gonna, I mean, we'll see what, you know, who knows what that will do, if anything, to the silver we're making here. But I do think that's going to, one more cast just for fun. I do think that's going to be another increasing the amount of fun that we're having here, if nothing else, right? But this has been helpful. You know, I'm making a video about these 4 spots, but really, like, I've got a lot to learn about these spots and what's working, how to get sort of dialed in. I just really appreciate that post on VK. I think it was very thoughtful, a lot of good information, really everything you could ask for in terms of an informative spot. And I appreciate the opportunity to loosely follow it and record this video. I hope that if it's helpful for you all, you'll let me know kind of what your results are looking like. Obviously there'll be some variance hour to hour based on weather and then just RNG. But yeah, I really like it. I'm gonna do this more often, I think. And like I said, this spot down here, I want to rotate that in some as well. Might turn this into a 5-spot 3-day thing. See if I can work it out that way. But okay, hey, thanks for joining me. Hope you're continuing to enjoy Yama. I said in the last video I made that I never ended up uploading because honestly it was just too slow of a buffalo spot. I was down trying to test buffalo at Octuba, and I could tell almost immediately it was just too slow to deserve a video. But I did say in that spot I want to try to work in a few non-Yama spots as I can. Tonight will be my last stream of the week. Not of the week, for the next couple days. But during the non-streaming days of the week, I end up making more videos, ideally. So we'll stream again tonight. If you're around, please join me. And then the next stream will probably be either Tuesday, Wednesday, something like that. So we'll probably have a lot more information by then. But as always, thanks for joining. Good luck fishing, and I will see you next time. Peace out.